Hi everyone, my name is Jenny Harrell, and I'm going to briefly discuss several aspects of how bias processing affects the spread of fake news. I'll start out with a Ben Franklin quote. He said, "So convenient it is to be a rational creature, since it enables us to find or make a reason for everything one has a mind to." So what's he saying here? In essence, he's saying that when it comes to our own personal beliefs and preferences, we tend to find reasoning to back it up. And to make that clear, it's not a Democratic problem or a Republican problem, but it's a problem that affects both sides of the aisle. First, I want to talk about something called motivated skepticism. Motivated skepticism has a role to play in how we process news that we encounter and in the spread of fake news. It happens when we are confronted with information that conflicts with our prior beliefs. What happens is we tend to be more critical of that contradictory information than we otherwise would be. Secondly, right along with that same train of thought, I want to talk about something called confirmation and disconfirmation bias. Confirmation bias is when a person chooses to select into an attitude confirming information environment, because to them that information is perceived as being more accurate or more credible. Disconfirmation bias, on the other hand, refers to when a person engages in generating counter-arguments for information that opposes their previous views, while they would not do so for information that happens to align with their previous views. Okay, so what does this have to do with the spread of fake news? Well, people who have strong political beliefs or partisans may be more prone to processing and spreading fake news because they have selected into a certain political information environment. So what happens is they may be confronted with fake news during an election cycle, and they may end up processing it in a biased manner. For example, let's say that you are a voter going into the 2016 presidential election and you plan on voting for Donald Trump. Perhaps you don't like Clinton's policies, or maybe you just don't even trust the Clintons in general. So you're scrolling through your Facebook newsfeed and you stumble across a news article entitled, "Tens of Thousands of Fraudulent Clinton Votes Found in Ohio Warehouse." This article goes into detail to explain how an electrical worker happened to find a bunch of stacked boxes of ballots in a warehouse in Ohio that were pre-marked for Hillary Clinton. This news article looks very, very real and even has pictures of ballot boxes. But this article was actually written by a 23-year-old recent college grad, and the entire story is completely made up. This article went viral and was shared with 6 million people. So since you already have some previous negative thoughts about the Clintons, you may be more prone to being deceived by this article and sharing it with others. So having bias is certainly not a bad thing. In fact, it's impossible to not be at least somewhat biased toward information that you encounter. If that were the case, we would all be robots without any sort of opinions of our own. But with that being said, we need to be careful and attempt to put our biases aside in an effort to stop and spot out fake news.